All right. Good afternoon. Welcome to the New Mexico House of Representatives District 60 Forum. Welcome to everyone. I want to once again thank you to our partners today in today's forum, which is the Rio Rancho Observer, the Rio Rancho Regional Chamber of Commerce. Thank you to the Rio Rancho Public Schools for the facility today, and thank you to Greencastle Media for all the video. With this forum, it has a 1-minute opening, 1-minute closing, and then in between we will have questions and we will go back and forth between the two of them as time permits. That being said, the video will be available somewhere between tomorrow and Monday, depending on how the video translates. You never know how media goes. The video that is posted is an uncut version. As everyone is watching today, they will also see it the same exact way online. So with that, I want to welcome our candidates for District 60. First, Representative Josh Hernandez and Luke Jungmann. So with this, Josh, you are the incumbent, so you will do the opening first. You have 1 minute.
Awesome. Thank you, Jerry. 2 seconds. Here we go. Hello, everyone. I'm Joshua Hernandez, and I'm running for re-election for State Representative in District 60. I would like to thank the Observer and the Chamber and Rio Rancho Public Schools for hosting this event that is super important for our community to be able to hear from each one of us. I would like to thank the audience for taking part. This is what this is all about. I would like to thank my family for putting up with the time commitment and all of everything that comes with being a legislator. I have had the honor of serving as your state representative in District 60 for the past 4 years, really focusing on the issues that matter to Rio Rancho. I would like to thank Luke for coming so that we can sit and talk about so many issues. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Josh. Luke, your opening.
Great. Awesome. Hello, my name's Luke Jungmann. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you, Observer and the Chamber. I was born and raised in Albuquerque. I went to New Mexico Tech, got my degree in mechanical engineering. I moved to Philadelphia where I met my wife, and I also got my master's degree in robotics engineering. And also I started the job that I've been working at for the last 6 years. And my wife, she was my wife at the time, but we got married, and then she convinced me, we convinced each other to move to New Mexico, and then she convinced me to move to Rio Rancho for her to be an educator, because Rio Rancho has an amazing school system. And I wanted to, when we moved here, I just really wanted to show my appreciation for the fact that this is our new home, and to make it the best home that it could be. Thank you.
Thank you, Luke. All right, Luke, you are first up with the first question. Tracy?
Yes, this is a 1-minute question, and it's on child welfare. What does New Mexico need to do to make sure CYFD is operating properly and protecting the state's most vulnerable children?
Sure. Well, CYFD is responsible for, it is responsible for a lot of children in the state, and I think that we need to make sure that our children are being protected, especially LGBTQ, any children that are facing discrimination of any kind. The children need support. We need to make sure that we're providing any parents with support. We need to make sure we're providing teachers and any educators, anyone involved with the children's lives, the support that they need to give these children the better future, and to make sure that we're setting them on the right path forward instead of punishing them for anything that they may do that is outside of their control. Thank you.
Thank you, Luke. Josh, same question. Tracy, can you repeat it, please?
Yeah. What does New Mexico need to do to make sure CYFD is operating properly and protecting the state's most vulnerable children?
Absolutely. Thank you, Tracy. CYFD, let's all be very clear, is a mess. Every week you get another story in the paper, sometimes multiple times a week, of mismanagement. Really looking at other states, we need to implement data collection and analytics. Maryland, for instance, spent $15 million, drop in the bucket, to implement an analytics and data system, and their social workers went from a 400% caseload to a 76% caseload. That's a dramatic shift in just a few years. We also need more staff, which is hard. Social workers, I can't imagine doing that job. So I understand why they leave. We also need additional resources, training, and support for parents. Thank you.
Thank you, Joshua. All right, next question. Josh, you're up first.
Okay, this is also a 1-minute question, and it's on education. What steps could the state take to expand access to career technical education programs in schools, and how do you see these programs preparing students for future workforce needs?
Perfect. Career technical education, something that is near and dear to my heart. If I had CTE programs available to me when I was younger, I would have absolutely been an elevator technician or an HVAC technician right now. There is a couple of challenges that we have faced, myself and Senator Craig Brandt sponsored a bill to make it easier to get teachers into CTE centers from local businesses such as Don Chalmers for automotive technicians. Right now there is quite a bit of a hurdle to jump over in order to be able to do that. And without teachers, there is no CTE program. I also believe funding and making people understand why CTE is so important is another challenge we're gonna overcome, but we're making progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. All right, Luke, back to you, the same question.
Great.
What steps could the state take to expand access to career technical education programs in schools, and how do you see these programs preparing students for the future workforce needs?
Yeah, well, our Rancho school system is among the best in the state, and especially with its CTE program. It's my wife has talked to me time and time again how amazing the program is and how many opportunities it provides, And I would love to expand it even further, provide as many technical programs as we can for those kids, and so that they can grow and they can learn and we can move into the workforce. And I'd also like to make sure that our teachers are being, provided in a very, in a way that's respectful of how much energy and how much effort they're putting into teaching. I'd love to see their wages go up, and I'd also love to see classrooms limited to 20 children as a class. So we have the most engagement with as many kids as we can, especially for CTE programs.
Thank you, Luke. All right, next question's coming right back to you.
Okay, it's also a 1-minute question, and it's on crime. After this summer's failed special session on crime, how do you plan to address the issue in 2025?
Yeah, so as Matt again mentioned in the previous one, luckily violent crime has, since the pandemic and ever since we got rid of lead in all of our paint and all of our gas, has been on the decline. But in New Mexico, petty crime isn't. And petty crime is driven largely by 3 major issues: homelessness, lack of a home, drug addiction, and poverty. And so we need to address these 3 things. We need to make sure that we're giving people who are experiencing, New Mexicans who are struggling with homelessness, give them a roof over their heads. We need to give treatment to people who are struggling with addiction. And we also need to make sure that anyone who's facing poverty is being held up, because I believe that the government should be doing everything it can to provide a level playing field.
Thank you, Luke. Same question, Josh. Can you reiterate, Tracy?
After this summer's failed special session on crime, how do you plan to address the issue in 2025?
Thank you, Tracy. There's many things that need to be done for crime. The first thing is we need to hold courts and agencies accountable for enforcing the laws and for spending the money that has been appropriated towards them. There is, with the increase of money, there has been agencies that have a whole lot right now in their piggy bank, and that money is put towards programs to affect, in a positive way, crime. We need to address the revolving door. We need stronger penalties for repeat offenders, but also rehabilitation programs for first-time offenders to try and make them not repeat offenders. We do need to invest in state-run rehab, education and economic opportunities, which, as my opponent said, will dramatically affect crime. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Joshua, next question's coming right back to you.
Okay, this question has a 2-minute response time, and it's on energy. New Mexico has been focused on green energy, which has included the closure of the San Juan plant. Yet New Mexico's budget is driven by oil and gas revenues. What are your thoughts on energy policy in New Mexico?
Thank you, Tracy. Energy policy. Okay, oil and gas, one of the largest employers in our state. As you said, it does contribute a significant amount, over 50%, to our budget. Pays for things like public education, public safety, things that we rely on every day. That to be said, things like carbon capture and making oil and gas drilling cleaner for our future, definitely steps that we should be taking. Last year, I sponsored a bill with Representative Meredith Dixon to bring federal funding in for carbon capture. For the small guys, all of the big guys are already doing it, but it is an expensive process, but it is something that is absolutely going to be necessary in order for oil and gas to keep drilling after the Energy Transition Act comes into effect in 2030. I think a big thing with energy policy is we have the perfect climate here for a whole bunch of it. We should be, instead of battling oil and gas versus renewables, we should be taking advantage of oil and gas, renewables, nuclear, geothermal. We all have it here in our state. Over 300 days of sunshine. Why not use solar? We have windy areas by Clovis. Let's use them. Let's make New Mexico an energy powerhouse rather than pitting, oil and gas versus renewables, and not even talking about nuclear. I think that energy policy and the future of how we decide to go down this path really could be a huge economic driver for the future of New Mexico, and it could be a really big game changer. Thank you.
Thank you, Joshua. Luke, same question. Can you reiterate it?
Yeah.
Tracy?
New Mexico has been focused on green energy, which has included the closure of the San Juan plant, yet New Mexico's budget is driven by oil and gas revenues. What are your thoughts on energy policy in New Mexico?
Yeah, well, New Mexico is the number 2 producer of oil and gas, and right now we're producing oil and gas at a rate faster than any other time in human history. I don't think we need to cut back immediately, but I would love to use the money specifically. I would love to use it for, we have a permanent fund. I would love to use that permanent fund to direct money to give a stipend to New Mexicans, similar to what we do, what Alaska does. And I'd also love to direct that money directly to renewables projects. I'd love to invest significantly in renewable energy for solar, for wind, geothermal. I'd love to look outside and see our parking lots covered with solar panels. I'd love to look in the distance and see wind farms that are powering our towns and everything. And I'd love to use our energy that we have a very abundant excess of. And I'd love to, be able to store it so that if we ever have an issue where the sun is blocked by some clouds for a few days, then we have enough energy to last us, and then to also sell to other states, particularly Texas, when they're having a little bit of an issue with their own power supply. And I'd love to make sure that we have consistent generation of energy so that we have no one in the state losing energy, especially for people who rely on at-home medical devices or people who rely on technology to work or to do their jobs. Thank you.
Thank you, Luke. Next question's coming right back to you.
Okay, this is a 2-minute question, and it's on FMLA. Paid family medical leave has been under consideration at the legislature for several years now. Do you support the current version of this bill as it has been proposed over the past 2 years? If not, would you suggest an alternative approach? If you do support it, what do you believe is a reasonable maximum premium that businesses and employees should contribute to share the cost?
Yes, I do support the Paid Family Medical Leave Act. I believe that if we enact it and we support it, that New Mexican workers can actually take the time off when they have a major illness, they have a major issue that they cannot deal with, and they need to take time off. As well, this would make sure that the companies have more ability to handle when an employee needs to take a lot of time off. And it'll also make them a lot more competitive when they're looking for jobs around, if a person's looking for a new job throughout the country, they may not look at New Mexico because we don't offer a lot of paid family or medical leave. And so I'd love to expand that to make New Mexico more competitive. And for the maximum, I'd love to keep it as low as we can. Personally, I'd love for the state to pay as much as possible and for the businesses to pay as little as possible, especially for our small local businesses, to make sure that they are not struggling and to make sure that they are able to compete, especially with the chains, especially with any of the larger major corporations that have billions, trillions of dollars competing against a small mom and pop shop. So I would absolutely love to support that.
Thank you, Luke. Same question, Josh. Tracy, can you reiterate?
Paid family medical leave has been under consideration at the legislature for several years now. Do you support the current version of this bill as it has been proposed over the past 2 years? If not, would you suggest an alternative approach? If you do support it, what do you believe is a reasonable maximum premium that businesses and employees should contribute to share the cost?
Thank you, Tracy. For the past 2 years, I have not supported the Paid Family Medical Leave Act plan that has come through the legislature. I have some serious problems with the bill. Another business mandate on our small businesses here. I don't know how our small businesses with mandate after mandate are going to survive. My other problem is we're trying to add 250-ish positions at Workforce Solutions when they have a consistent vacancy rate of 30%. I'm not sure how they will keep the department staffed. And they are facing the same issue that so many other businesses and industries in our state are facing. So my alternative, if you look at 7 states, including Alabama, Florida, Texas, Vermont, and Virginia, and a handful of others, is a voluntary program. 7 states so far have implemented voluntary programs run not by state government, but by industry like AFLAC and a few others that do it with a much smaller staff, a much smaller cost. They have made their programs voluntary, and they are thriving at a rate that we could only dream to have in our coffers for this program. I understand the need, and I understand the benefit, especially in workforce attraction and taking care of our people. But I think that another business mandate, and especially one that could be as expensive as this one, is not the right path to take. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. All right, final questions coming right back to you.
Okay, this is a 1-minute question on the economy. What, if anything, can be done at the state level to address inflation and help working and middle-class families that are struggling?
Thank you, Tracy. It's a great question. Inflation is hitting everybody. Everybody's feeling it. I'm feeling it. You're feeling it. We unfortunately don't control supply chain. We don't get to control businesses and their profit margins and all of that kind of stuff. But we do have some very real changes that can be made in New Mexico to change the game for our economic development. First one is reforming our tax code. Gross receipts tax with over 350 carve-outs is not doing any favors for anybody. We need to transition to a different tax system like all of the states around us who are thriving. We need to diversify our energy sector. I think it's something that we easily can do to provide thousands of jobs, and we need to invest in infrastructure, workforce development, tech innovation, and we really need to focus on attracting population. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Luke, same question. Tracy, can you reiterate it?
What, if anything, can be done at the state level to address inflation and help working and middle-class families that are struggling?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things that is causing inflation is the cost of housing, and that's easily something that we can tackle. I would love to go after the out-of-state homeowners that are from Texas, from New York, from California, that own multiple properties in our state, and apply a scaling tax that we would use to fund a program building affordable housing. So that would address two birds with one stone. I'd also love to go after the fact that our healthcare is very expensive. I'd love to give Medicare the ability to negotiate for more than we are able to negotiate right now. And I'd also love to drop any energy prices that we can, because we are really rapidly expanding into a bunch of different types of energy, and as we do so, we should start dropping the prices for consumers and for everyone.
Thank you, Luke. All right, that concludes the questions. So, Luke, you want to do your closing first, please?
Sure. Yeah, well, again, thank you all for coming out. I have been, it's been a great journey, and I have the backing of the Sandoval Democrats, of the backing of the Planned Parenthood, of the a bunch of unions. I've got the teachers union, I've got the steelworkers unions. I am here to work for the people, and I'm an open book. If you want to, talk to me, I'm always here. I try to be. I have my email available all the time. You can reach out anytime. I try to respond almost immediately, and I always love to chat. I'm always here to be an open mind and to grow. And I want to be here for all of you. And if you feel that anything is missing from me, talk to me, and I would love to talk with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Luke. Joshua, your closing?
Thank you, Jerry. I would once again like to thank the Chamber and the Observer and Rio Rancho Public Schools for allowing us to do this and letting the residents of Rio Rancho, hear from each one of us. It's important. I am proud of the work that I have done for the last 4 years, focusing really on the issues that matter to Rio Rancho and common sense solutions, and working across the aisle to better our state, better our community. District 60 is ranked as the House district with the lowest crime rate in the entire state, and I feel like Rio Rancho and the people of Rio Rancho are the reason that is so. I'm Josh Hernandez once again, and I ask for your vote in November. Thank you.
Thank you, Joshua. Thank you to Joshua Hernandez. Thank you to Luke Jungmann for your participation today. And please give them all a round of applause. This concludes the forum for House District 60. We'll be getting started again here in a few minutes. Thank you.